Florence Nightingale and Mary Seacole are in the English national curriculum. They're taught to school children, and they get all the way up into secondary education for history examinations. Unfortunately, a great deal of the myth is presented as fact for school children. Here we have a really quite preposterous timeline fitting Mary Seacole in with historical events. We start in 53, Julius Caesar invades Britain. Jesus was crucified a little later. Mohammed was born. 1066, the Normans invaded Britain. 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed to the New World. And then 1805, Mary Seacole was born, and the next item is not till the First World War. Well, is this really the right scale of historical events? School children are invited to make their own skits. They have their own presentations. And M is for medals. Mary Seacole won medals. And school children are told that. You can see for students who are preparing for history examinations at the secondary level, they exchange information. There are blogs, there are websites, there are books for people at different levels. And they are full of misinformation. So that Mary Seacole is presented to school children. So millions of people in the UK are now misinformed. They think that she was really the medal-winning heroine and was a genuine nurse. And Nightingale is simply another nurse now in the story. Perhaps she's treated as an important person. She's still treated seriously by most people. But there's been, shall we say, a great deal of encroachment. Books for school children particularly show Mary Seacole as running a hospital and providing food for ordinary soldiers. Here's one. Mary decided to open her own hospital in the Crimea. And she's serving on this page regular soldiers dressed as a nurse in that nursing type of uniform. And she's going out to the battlefield, again taking things out to the ordinary soldiers. She sees an injured soldier. She helps him. All this is fictitious because she missed most of those battles. And when she was in her hut, which was a club for officers, she wasn't serving ordinary soldiers. Here she's brought somebody back, and again in that nursing uniform, and she's helping somebody. And these are all ordinary soldiers. They aren't officers. There are now some 14 books for school children that are available. And all of them contain the mythological material. Here's one, and it's called Histories. Hurrah for Mary Seacole. And if you look at it, there she is on the battlefield, and she's wearing a nursing uniform. In fact, it's quite similar to what nurses at the Nightingale School much later were wearing, the blue and white, typical of nurses' uniforms at that time. We see her also in the text, and this is common for school books. There she is in her hut, but the hut is being treated as if it were a small hospital, a battlefront hospital. And there's a soldier there, and again she's dressed as a nurse. But in fact that hut was for officers, and it was for serving meals, champagne, sherry. It was an officers' club, and nobody stayed at it, not even officers. It wasn't for overnight people. Well, here's another one, the story of Mary Seacole. And here she is. This is an earlier period. She's shown in Jamaica. And here she's shown, then she built a hospital near her kitchen so that she could treat the soldiers' wounds and diseases, and also, of course, do her cooking, which isn't what happened. The cooking was for officers, and the wounds that she treated were basically sports injuries. She missed the first 3 battles of the Crimean War when large numbers of men were wounded. The story continues. Every morning Mary got up at 4 o'clock to cook breakfast for the soldiers. Well, she didn't do that. She cooked meals, but they were for officers, and they were often takeaway meals. A soldier who came was probably coming to pick up a meal ordered by his boss, the officer. Here she is going off to the battlefield. Well, she did this on only 3 occasions because she missed most of the war. But this is treated as if she were doing this all the time. Here we see her also. She helped the soldiers who were hungry. She also took care of the soldiers who were wounded in the battle or were sick or dying. And here she's shown, again, blue and white, the nursing outfit. Notice how young she is. She looks like a nurse. She's slim. She's young. She's not the middle-aged, portly woman that she was as a restaurant proprietress. She's been made more into a Nightingale figure. Well, here she is again, Mary Seacole, and wearing blue and white, again, a uniform that wasn't even worn by Nightingale's nurses at the time. They wore dirty gray during the war because of the difficulty in keeping things clean. But she's shown treating someone who's wounded, which really is quite fictional. Here she's shown again. Famous people, Mary Seacole. Indeed, she was famous, but she's at a bedside. Again, the blue and white uniform. She looks like a nurse. She's not quite so slim as in some of them, and she's with a wounded soldier. However, this is not how things happened. If this is the Land Transport Corps hospital, which it probably is, the one that was very close to her establishment, it was not for soldiers, it was for workers in the Land Transport Corps. The transport workers, they hauled the freight. And she went there as a visitor. And she's shown as a visitor. She took magazines around. These are kind acts, but it's not doing the nursing. Again, here she is, and again, it's called history. And there she is on the battlefield with a soldier. Here she is in her, Mary built a kitchen and a place for the soldiers to eat. No, she didn't. She had a hut for officers who could pay her prices. She helped the soldiers who were hungry, sick, or dying. Now she was a real nurse. She called herself a doctoress, not a nurse, and she was a restaurant proprietress. Here's another one, and it's called Historical Storybooks. And this little boy shown is called Omar in the book. And Omar is an orphan that Mary Seacole looks after. Well, in fact, there was an Omar in Mary Seacole's own book, and he was the commander of the Turkish forces. And he frequented her establishment because he liked to drink champagne and sherry, and he was a social friend, not a child that she's helping. And again, here he's helping her go off to treat the wounded on the battlefield. And one last one is Mary Seacole. She's shown wearing medals, proudly wearing her medals. Well, I think most people would think if you show somebody proudly wearing medals that they are her medals. But in fact, they're not her medals. They were medals that she actually used, probably borrowed, or perhaps they were given to her, but not awarded to her. Returning heroes, here she's depicted in a cartoon which appears in Punch. And this is perhaps an accurate portrayal because she's portrayed bringing magazines around. She's not nursing, but the same scene gets changed into her nursing at the bedside. And again, a notable nurse. Here she is, a notable nurse, and she's got medals recognizing her bravery. Well, again, these are not her medals. They were perhaps borrowed or given to her. And yet this is the kind of typical portrayal that is used to give young pupils in the school system quite an erroneous picture of Mary Seacole.